What's up, Zoomies? Welcome back to another episode of the HVAC Zoomies podcast with your hosts, Rhydon and Rachael Klein. Yeah, I got it right that time.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's about time. Since, you would think your co-host and best buddy up in Canada would tell you that you're pronouncing their name wrong the whole time. Especially when my own last name gets butchered by everyone. So I feel really bad if I ever screw up somebody's name. But anyway, now that all that debate is over with, those 5 lights are going out.
And away we go. Almost synchro that time.
Practice 1 is done in Spain. We're a little bit behind the 8 ball, but so welcome back to the show, everybody. We have been bullshitting as usual for at least a few minutes. Sometimes we'll lie about how long we did it before we started recording. But the show after the show is now started. So welcome back to the HVAC Zoomies podcast, where we talk about HVAC news real fast so that we can talk about cars that go real fast. So thank you, everybody, for coming back. Sorry we missed you last week, but Rachael and I have had some rather busy schedules. As you know, she runs her own business up in Canada. I am recently transitioned to a different distributor, so I've got a lot of catch up to do in terms of just learning and onboarding and all that stuff, as well as travel. So every now and then we might miss one. We're sorry about that, but we'll definitely try to make up for it today. So I guess let's dive right into the news, since we have an industry full of all kinds of crazy things happening right now. One of the articles that I checked out that just came out from the ACHR news just a little over a week or so ago, about 10 days ago, is the top 30 HVACR distributors of 2025. And number 1 is WATSCO Incorporated, which I happen to work for. So good. Us as a collective, good job, all of our fellow distributors that are under the same umbrella. Ferguson coming in at number 2, Wind Supply at number 3, R.E. Michaels at number 4. All 4 of those are over $1 billion in total sales, which is insane to think about how big our industry really is, isn't it? I think it's close to 25, 26 now for just the U.S. alone, I believe. So it's
wow,
it's big. Then FW Webb, Haberger Corp, AC Pro, Masters Group, Sid Harvey, and then Gustav A. Larson round out the top 10.
All right, we got some Canadian content in there. Good.
Yep. Well, and CE's up there in Canada, so a little WATSCO for you guys too.
Yeah.
But yeah, go check that out on ACHR News. And then also another fun one, which I cheated. I've got everything from ACHR News today because we're running behind. So an article that I read that was interesting was Inside the Modern HVAC Work Van, Smart Storage and Strong Branding on the Move. And I think as technicians and everybody continue to improve and want to be more efficient with their service vehicles and everything else, I think vans are no longer just what goes out to the job and comes back. They're mobile billboards, they're mobile offices. While they are a massive investment, if you put the right things in your van and set yourself up for success, you can save a lot of time with having a well-organized, well-put-together van. I know you know that.
Oh,
especially.
Yes. I am in the trenches of this right now because I'm bringing on a first-year apprentice on Monday. It's Friday today, and so I'm actually taking my truck, the spare truck, to get detailed right now because he's starting, and we've got to figure all this stuff out. Now, for me, for an apprentice, a van is definitely the way to go. They're usually the ones carting a lot more stuff around. However, I had a spare pickup truck, so with a cap on the back. And that I generally would like more for a journeyman because I don't want to stock parts anymore. I just want it to be full of our tools and equipment, and that's it. And trucks, a lot nicer drive than, the vans.
Yep.
And, but I'm leaving the racking up to him. Whatever he picks, I'm going to let him pick out whatever he wants and just go get it done. And that's it. Like, that's how your racking is going to be. Every company I've worked for, they've always had the racking done already ahead of time, and never happy with it. So, but it's tough. I thought going to a pickup truck would be better because I'm done climbing and crawling around the backs of my vans. So I got a pull out bed and everything's there on display. I can use it as a workbench. So I'm trying out new things on my own and trying to figure that out. But really, it's like personal preference. And I just want them to be happy and have a comfortable drive because really, you're spending almost more time in your van than you do in like your house
No,
sometimes,
you
right?
truly
Like,
do. You truly do.
yeah.
You spend a ton of time in your vehicle. I know I had to trade sales vehicles a couple of years ago, and I had a Mazda CX-5, which just before I started the show back in 2019, I was in a really, really bad wreck that a
Oof.
Mazda CX-5 saved my life. I walked out of it. I probably shouldn't have. I know my wife posts stuff usually every year around the anniversary of it, just being like, well, he's still here. Just kidding. Um, just kidding. Although she probably thinks that some days. But I got another one immediately after that, and I drove that thing to 187,000 miles, and
Wow.
it was starting to just fall apart. You know, when you're an AC guy and then the AC in your car breaks and you're in sales, you're like, you know what? I'm not going to spend all day with a broke AC in a car. And for me, it
It's the
was the amount of
worst.
money it was going to take to finish putting half of that stuff back together. I was like, I might as well just move on because it was starting to have other issues with all the high mileage stuff with it. So I had traded for a Telluride, which crazily actually gets almost better mileage than I was getting in my Mazda, but put me back in a full SUV. But I wanted to just be more comfortable in a drive because I'm
Yes,
driving 3, 4,
exactly.
5,000 miles a month,
Yeah.
sometimes more, sometimes less. It depends on time of year and what all we've got going. I know a lot of you techs are probably driving double that in some cases if you're truly burning the roads up every single day.
Well, I just talked to you about like my Monday job is like 2 hours away.
Yep.
So there's 4 hours of travel.
Yep. Which, and I
So
did the same thing yesterday. I had an impromptu meeting out of nowhere. So I had a, 4.5 hour round trip to go have a lunch meeting.
yeah, exactly.
But, that's what it takes to move the needle some days.
Yeah.
But if we're going to be on the road, we want to have a comfortable vehicle. So what are a couple of things that are just non-negotiables for you with a work vehicle?
Well, I mean, there is a legal aspect to a lot of it too. So I have to have safe storage for all my cylinders and refrigerants and
Yep.
oxyacetylene, all those things. But I also need it to be, so because I'm in a pickup truck now, I do a winter truck and I have a summer truck. So
Oh,
I have two sets of pack out. Shout out to Milwaukee. Give me some stuff. And then I have two sets and I have a winter one and a summer one and I swap all that stuff out and you know I don't do a lot of refrigeration over the winter. I do a little bit and those are those one-offs, but I try not to keep, my summer gear on the truck for the winter. So that like honestly just being organized and being I mine is just wide open. I don't have any racking inside the truck bed itself. I just other than where I put my refrigerants. But for me, the storage came in the form of like packouts. So that's more important is that I'm able to easily, readily get at all my stuff and switch it over.
it's interesting you bring up pack out because they actually brought up pack out in that article talking about how it's helped, change the way people organize the backs of vans and different
Heck
systems like
yes.
that.
Yeah, it's been really good. And I know there's a couple other manufacturers who do it quite well as well, but I just always had packouts as long as packouts basically been out. So yeah, and it's great. So like the new kid, he's getting a full set of packout, and he can do with it what he wants, and he'll figure out his own way to organize himself.
Man, if this sales job doesn't work out, it sounds like I need to come be an apprentice. I get free tools and a truck. I mean, this is perfect.
Come on up. If you know the invite, stand. We have standing invitation.
Standing invitation. Now, do
Yes.
you have do you have organizational stuff on your pullout, or is that what you use the pack out on the
That's what
slide
I
out bed?
use
Okay.
yeah, I use it on there. But yeah, like I have all my bigger tools on there, and you have cases on cases of tools and things. Yeah, and honestly, I'm still like I've been around for a little while, so I still am using a lot of milk crates, and it's kind of an old school way of doing things, but geez, it's so handy. They stack nice. Why not?
I will say nothing about the old milk crate
I
because for
love
many,
them.
many years, my seat as the third person or the third wheel of an install team when I was little was, you know, I was 8, 9, 10, 11. My tiny little ass could sit on a milk crate between
Exactly.
the two van chairs, so that's where I sat. Yeah, you
Yeah,
can't go wrong with a milk crate.
for all your black iron fittings and this and that, like it's perfect. Yeah.
They're also good for toting service manuals. They fit really
Oh yeah.
nicely down in one, and you can have like a whole section and then stack it on this side, and this is your yeah. So that
So I've
always worked nice
actually
too.
gone away. Like I keep all my manuals in the house, but I have a file of just digital manuals because yeah, you need them all the time. I mean, read the fucking manual. Everything's in there.
Well, and now we have technology where we can have all the manuals in our pocket,
Yeah, amazing.
which I mean that makes the paper one a truly a perfect knee pad now, right? Everybody,
Mhm.
is that right?
Exactly. Protect your knees.
That's right. So, rounding out our little news portion, another one that is on here is how improper HVAC installation is fueling a wave of lawsuits. So, this is something I've seen for many, many years. The state of North Carolina has a state board that has different people throughout the state that will investigate situations like this. I'm sure
Hmm.
most states have something probably similar to that. But in the last couple of years, I've seen a whole lot more news about lawsuits and homeowners going after contractors that just didn't do their job right.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
unfortunately, there are plenty of guys that'll give you a quote on the back of a business card and walk away.
Yeah.
And those tail light warranties usually don't work out so hot.
No. And this happens a lot on the commercial industrial side as well. Luckily, like I get called in on some of these oddball things, and I've had one recently with a bad boiler install. And yeah, it was kind of the same thing where their contractor just wanted to um, have kind of the cheapest replacement of these boilers, and has since had to have his whole system re-engineered. He's dealing with water hammer and some other issues, and
Oh,
so
jeez.
we've had a number of issues. Actually, the water hammer is so bad it's blowing gaskets in the boilers, and then um, subsequently just spraying down all the electronics when it loses a gasket, which
Jeez.
is yeah. So then it's like a full overhaul on their boilers.
It seems like it would
Um,
be. I
yeah,
hate to say this, sorry to interrupt you, but
yeah, no.
it seems like it would be or should be harder for there to be situations like this in commercial than residential.
Yeah, so even though the contractor is the one that put this in, I like as a manufacturer, you should have to have certain specs met, like certain qualifications met to have an install. Now, I know the company who installed this and they have all that stuff. I don't know why they would
They just
try. Yeah, I don't
did
know if they were just
they
trying to do it
sent the
on the
guys
cheap.
that they thought were qualified that didn't know what they were doing. That
I don't know if it was ever really spec'd properly.
mm,
Like, I think they honestly just cut corners and then walked away.
so it's the engineer's fault, right?
I don't know if it's the engineer's fault, or if it was the like the project manager. Like they should have caught this stuff. This is the importance of doing a proper startup. This is
Yep.
why all this stuff gets documented. I always complain. I do a lot of startups, and I always complain that there's so many things to fill out when I'm doing my startups, and I complain that oh, why do I have to take pictures of this? I don't want to do this. I have to move on. I have like stuff to do. But I understand more so now than ever why this is so important to document the startup, because this is you handing it over. Now it's your responsibility, right? So
Yep.
I understand that and with these lawsuits, yeah, I'm surprised they haven't been coming out sooner. VRF over the last few years has been just a nightmare because people are learning and adapting, and VRF is changing. Um,
Very
and a
much so.
bad install is even a good install. It's just the way things are laid out. It's so important to the operation. In theory, VRF is incredible. In the real world, it never gets installed properly.
In most cases, there's potentially a problem at every corner with VRF. So it's one of those, as you work with a contractor that does that, you have to really work to make sure they're educated and you're educated as well, so that you can help them as best you can when you're setting up a job to order it, plan it, design it, all those different things.
Yeah.
Um,
I think with this too, we might start seeing warranties extended longer. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't
Like,
know. I don't know. I think there's a lot of manufacturers that would love to see the warranty go back to 5 years instead of
yeah,
10 or
hmm
12.
yeah, yeah. But that's just warranty on the parts. Like, you're not warranting the install.
No, you're correct about that.
Right.
So maybe that or you will see different places where they want to do an extended labor warranty, things like that. But
Hmm.
I think in some cases the warranty game has gotten a bit out of hand,
Hmm.
because really the real headache is, it's like, okay, that's great, you sold you as a homeowner, you bought a 12-year warranty. Well,
Hmm.
but if you don't take care of it, I don't want to, and you never get it maintenance and never get it serviced.
Right.
I don't want to be the contractor that comes out there at year 11 when it's not been worked on for 10 years or maintenance or service. And the homeowner's like, oh, well, this is broke, it's under warranty. And then you go try to, get a warranty part out of somebody, and
Hmm.
it'll be the one time where they're like, well, are there service records on this piece of equipment, so on and so forth? Because every single one of these warranty documents, in it states that the system must be maintained.
Yes.
They don't ever enforce it, but honest to God, there's a lot of times where they probably should. The
Yes.
headache is
So I
burns the
think you'll see
contractor.
that.
And it's not that I'm not saying that I want a homeowner to get burned. I mean, I'm a homeowner, you
Yep.
know, but I'm going to take care of my stuff. Granted, I'm about 2 months behind when I needed to go clean my outdoor unit, because I was waiting for it to be done with pollen season, because I didn't want to clean it and then it just get clogged right back up again.
Yes.
Uh,
Exactly.
so Rachel, hold me to it. I've got to get this thing cleaned sometime in the next
I'll
week.
send you a reminder.
But yeah, send me a reminder for my in-home service call.
I haven't changed a filter in my house yet. I've been here 10 years. I'm just assuming my husband does it, but I don't know.
Uh-oh. And speaking of filters, I actually recently we changed some of ours for the first time in a year, and here's why. I got some samples of Castle filters from a rep, and it's a 1-year filter, and
Really?
it
I'm
is. It's like
looking
this.
this up
It's
as we
like this
speak.
black membrane kind of stuff. The ones downstairs in the high traffic area, yeah, at a year they looked like a Merv 8 or Merv 11 after 3 months, but it took it a year
Okay.
to get there.
Hmm.
The ones upstairs in the low traffic area, hell, the two of the 14 by 14 in our media room, it still looked brand new. It's not dirty at all, because one of it's, like I said, lower traffic, but it's still, I mean, you can still see through it a little bit. It's a good filter, so I didn't change it yet.
That's
I'm gonna
interesting. So
I'm
I'm
gonna
looking
let it
it
ride
up,
a little bit.
and it's like a foam filter. It's like a,
Yeah, it's neat.
yeah, interesting.
I actually put together a whole sweet little reel about it, because I was going to try to see if I could swing us a sponsorship out of the show. And
Hey.
then Instagram ate the reel and like jacked it up after I worked on it for like an hour. And I was like, screw this, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Well, I hope our
Uh,
friends at Castle are listening.
but so far, it's been a pretty sweet product. Now, it's probably more of a product that a homeowner is going to be
Hmm.
going to buy, as opposed to contractors going out and changing it and doing it for maintenance. But, it could be a play for, an annual maintenance agreement. Like, oh, we'll come out, do the full clean. We'll
100%.
give you an
Yes.
annual filter,
Yep.
charge a premium for it, because it's not a
That's
cheap
a
filter,
but that's a great way.
you
Like,
know?
nobody remembers to change their filters until they have an HVAC problem, and then they're like, "Oh, I guess I should check the filter."
Yeah.
100%.
Well, because when it's like, it's not blowing, the first thing you do when you get there, where's the filter?
Exactly.
Well, yeah, so we failed miserably at neutral fast, but we had a good time with it.
Gosh. We actually, I think this is the most in depth we've gotten into
It was good.
some of
it was
our.
good.
Yes.
Yeah. Having grown up in a family HVAC business, I know firsthand what it is like to have hired someone that you had to train for weeks just to get them up to speed. But what if they came trained, certified, and ready to work on day one? That's what Apprentice Now is all about, providing contractors and businesses with employees that are trained first so that you can hire right. If you want to know more about what Apprentice Now can do to help you and your HVAC business hire quality new technicians and installers, visit HVACRD.com, check out the vendor hub, and click the Apprentice Now link to get started today. So we our last episode we did bold predictions for Imola, and then we never had a chance to get back together last week to do predictions for Monaco or go over what happened at Imola. So we'll try to knock those two races out pretty quick so we can talk a bit about Spain. But so looking 2 weeks ago in Imola in northern Italy, we will look at bold predictions. So mine were Max top 3, nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that.
He killed that
beautiful overtake. It was a send it or lose it overtake because he was either going to make it or he was done for the day.
Yeah. No, the classic Max, that was such
gorgeous.
Yeah, it really was. It was very impressive.
My second prediction was a Kimi top 5, and unfortunately, our little buddy had a tough day at the office in his first home race. Because I think, wasn't he born and raised in Bologna, real close to there?
Yeah, didn't he live? He lives very close.
Yep. Which I've actually been to Bologna. I was there for 2 days.
Oh.
In 2006.
Nice
cool
place.
Little town.
Oh, okay.
It was a cool town. I ate at a Chinese restaurant in Bologna. How funny is that?
What?
Yep.
Right.
By then, I had a lot of Italian food, and I needed a break for an afternoon. So I was like, you know what? Why not try foreign cuisine in a foreign country to me?
Why not?
Which is not the first time that's happened to me. I tried Indian food when I was in Abu Dhabi in the Middle East. So there you go.
Oh, but yes, in the Middle East, there's a lot of Indian people there.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
There's a lot of Indian people everywhere. There's a lot of people everywhere now.
You're welcome. For those who don't know.
Who don't know. Curry! Damn it, Mommy. Have you ever... Daggum.
Yes.
Sorry, now I'm going to... You and I and Stand-Up. We never get to talk about Stand-Up. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. All right. The boys are up.
So apparently I was not supposed to talk about Stand-Up. It's because there's a moving van next door outside. I might have to put them in their room. Hold on 1 second. Pause break, everybody.
Yep.
Time for good spot for an ad.
Perfect.
All right, hold on. Since 1961, JP Lamborn Company has been the name behind some of the best flexible duct products in the business. A third-generation family-owned company that built its legacy on integrity, innovation, and service. That same spirit drives them today, with antimicrobial technology, top-tier materials, and a relentless focus on quality. When contractors need a product they can stand behind, JPL delivers. It's more than just flex duct, it's peace of mind. JPL, the name you know, the quality you trust, and the flex that delivers. Okay, sorry about that interruption, everyone.
Okay.
There's a 26-foot Enterprise truck that pulled up to the house across the street, and
they're very suspicious.
Well, Rhodes heard it stop because I could hear him hit his air brakes, and he looked out the window, and they all went crazy.
Of course.
So the boys are now in their room next to the office, so they can't look out that window. They're still going to bark, but they can't see out that window.
That's just cute barks, not as aggressive as they were
It
before.
could be. It could be more aggressive. You're right about that. So yeah, bad day at the office for poor Kimmy. And
Poor
then
Kimmy.
and my third prediction was a Williams double top 10. Get it, boys in blue.
They did great. They did so great. It's nice to see Carlos get a little more comfortable in that car.
Yep, he's getting there.
Yeah.
I know they had I know there was some frustration over communication, but I think he had some slight damage, I believe, so he was kind of dropping back a little bit anyway. Unfortunately,
yeah, he did well.
And then Rachel's predictions: safety car makes its mark. Which didn't we have a safety car earlier on? I'm pretty sure.
Yes, we did, and
Yep.
yes, I win
because it wasn't it for I think who it was for. It's been 2 weeks.
I lose that one. I lose the McLaren for the win.
Yep, McLaren for the win, denied. Gosh. Ferrari frustration. I mean, they finished 4 and 6. I feel like they actually had a positive show. Now, if we were talking about qualifying results, you definitely would have had some Ferrari frustration because they both fail to get to Q. They both failed to get to Q3 on the circuit named after their founder. It was not a good day on Saturday.
It was not.
So yeah, actually, I'm gonna give you half a point for that since we have
0
0 points to
12. That's right.
Yeah, since we have 0 points to award for Monaco for either of us. That or do we just both get 3? Is that our bye week? Do we get 3 points apiece?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe I can use the bye week before Canada to tally up our points. Oh wait, how many times have I said that? Good job. Good job, sales guy that's supposed to add up the numbers.
We never did figure out how we were going to do that either.
Nope.
Oh,
no, but we will. We will. We're not even to episode 10 yet. This is just episode 8, which is now going to mess my head up because we're on race weekend 9 and I'm off 1.
I know.
It's my fault.
As both of our faults.
I'll take that.
The intent was there. We tried.
Yes, it was. But then we ended up having a great, very fun Instagram video conversation for like half an hour. So
great.
Yeah, it was worth it. It
was nice, yeah.
So which bold predictions were most surprising? I hate to say it. I think the Williams double top 10 in some ways was surprising because you just didn't know if it was going to actually get pulled off.
They've been a little unpredictable.
They qualified well because they qualified 6th and 7th, which we didn't know that at the time. So because they looked good in practice, but I was worried that they were punching above their weight just a little bit and they might have a bad day. But no, they had a very solid day.
Yes, they did.
George continued to be Mr. Consistent.
Yeah.
Finishing 3rd.
Yeah, he did great. He is not my favorite, but
no, excuse me. That was I don't know why I said that.
That was in qualifying.
That was qualifying. I'm looking at qualifying. Yeah. No, he finished 7th. So it was a rough day for Mercedes between him and then poor Kimmy, since he was a DNF. Because his engine blew up, didn't it? I swear his engine blew up on lap 44. I think. Man, weird.
He stopped.
I'm a terrible pundit.
He stopped in the same place as who else? Ocon. Yeah, they were both stopped in the same place, basically. Yeah. Yes, that's right. Kimmy did just pull off.
Yep. So rough day at the office for the Mercs. Pretty solid day or comeback drive for the Ferraris. McLaren 2-3. Outside of winning the race, you can't ask for better than winning in a 1-2. So they were as close up there as they could. And I was going to say Yuki getting into some points. I was pumped about that. ACHR with Racing Bulls continues to be very impressive in that car. And Liam's getting better. I feel like he's getting more used to that car again. I think he kind of got used to the car, then he was trying to figure out Red Bull, and then goes back to this one and he just kind of. And also, it was a bit of a kick to the ego, so I'm sure it's taking a little bit of time to kind of get comfortable in the seat again.
And like Hajar, really, you got to give it up to him because he's doing it like exactly how you would think a rookie would, where he struggled in the beginning, but he's very talented. He's a very good driver. I think you're going to see a lot more of him, and he's in a decent car.
Yep, I
So
agree.
I think you'll see the rise of Hadjar very soon. I think he'll be consistently in the points. Hopefully, I'm a big fan of him. So
Sounds like a F1 parody of a Star Wars movie I've heard about.
the rise of
The
Hadjar.
Rise of Hadjar.
Yeah. Besides Kimmy, I think he's the rookie to watch.
I mean, Ollie's worth watching too. He's had some really
Yeah.
good days. That car's went backwards a little bit since the first couple of weekends, but I still think he is. I still think he has some very good skills.
Same. Yeah.
And then
Definitely.
Franco Colapinto returned to the grid that week, finished 16th, first race out. I
Replacing
mean,
Doohan.
yeah. I mean, he didn't really do better, didn't really do worse. So I think we'll see kind of over the next. I think he has 5 races to kind of prove if he should stay in the car or not. My question is, after the 5 races, if he's not going to stay in the car, what are we doing? Are we just going back to Jack,
Yeah.
or what? What's the play in Alpine? I know post race, like we'd said before, Carlos was not in a very good mood. I think there was some confusion with a couple of different race strategy things that he was not very happy about. But I think, James Vowles came out and cleared that up as best he could, and they moved on. Final race results for Imola: Max, Lando, Oscar, Lewis, Alex, Charles, George, Carlos, and Isaac, and Yuki rounded out your top 10. Fernando Alonso was knocking on the door of a top 10. He was close. Nico Hulkenberg in 12th, Pierre Gasly 13th, Liam 14th, Lance 15th, Franco 16th, Ollie 17th, Gabriel Bortoleto 18th, and then Kimi and Esteban DNFs on laps 44 and 27. And then let's go to Monaco.
It's Monaco time.
The annual glitz and glamour of F1, where we go to a track, as the guys on the Red Flags podcast call it. It's really the race where all the rich people strike deals on their yachts while watching cars. It's really what it's about. It is a race for the glitz and the glam. It is not a race for the peons, as they say.
I still want to go there, though.
Oh, yeah.
I want to go
You
so
definitely
bad to Monaco.
You should go listen to their show for their ideas on how they could try to fix the race. I thought it was a pretty good idea. I'm not going to steal it, but it was a good idea in the clip I watched. I don't really think the mandatory 2-stop changed a whole lot.
No.
I think it just gave us 2 rounds of the same strategy of let's back everybody up and go slow so we can make room for somebody to do this, and hopefully we'll jump around. Max and Red Bull worked their strategy. I mean, you couldn't have put it together any better for them. I mean, they got themselves out in front with a pit stop out of the way, and they just rode it out, hoping somebody would make a mistake. But when everyone behind you has decided to drive like grandma, they're probably not going to make a mistake. So, unfortunately, he had to pit on, right before the last lap of the race and give Lando, Charles, and Oscar the 1, 2, and 3 podium. But
yeah, he was waiting on that. But and it's a good strategy for that race.
I will say, now, did you see the pileup from the F2 race in turn 1?
No.
It was like opening race, and half the grid was like in a pileup. I was like, welcome to F2 in Monaco, because none of them have learned their lesson that you can't send it outside on the first turn. Yeah. So they just all get themselves in trouble, and then it's just a chain reaction train wreck all the way through the top of the grid.
I gotta check this out.
I think there was probably more action in that opening turn 1 incident than the majority of the main event. But it's still, you can't not love the Monaco Grand Prix, though. It's one of the most interesting tracks. If they really wanted it to be a true out-and-out race, then redesign where they race it. But the Principality's only so big.
Yeah. And we touched on this briefly, but in the pregame, is why is Charles Leclerc so good in this course. Like, I don't understand why he can't put that towards every other race. I think he's a great driver. I think Ferrari is a good car. I just don't understand why he can't do this anywhere else. It's very frustrating.
I think there's just a next level focus when it's
This
the home race. And it's the home race, but it's also, in many ways, Monaco is the biggest race of the year because it's such a classic.
Yeah. There's that level of prestige when it comes to Monaco.
Yeah. So, Lando's win was, I feel, in some ways, a kind of a historic win. It's a significant achievement to see McLaren back on the top.
It's nice to see Lando back on the top because
It
I
is.
feel
Little
like
guy
he's
has
taken
had
a
some rough
hit.
weeks.
I know, and I
he's had
love
some rough
him.
weeks.
Oh, so happy.
Well, and it's in McLaren's blood to have two top drivers. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to see them battling it out, but you just hope that their battle doesn't cost them something else in the long run. But so far they've been very clean and professional about it. But we'll see as it continues to unfold through the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Like we said, the 2-stop strategy for the race really didn't encourage overtaking. It didn't encourage much of anything. It encouraged a lot of backing up the pack because these cars are so daggone big. They really don't have room to pass. I'm curious if 2026 regulations, which I think bring the car down a little bit in size,
Smaller,
will actually allow it to maybe see some overtaking in Monaco for the first time in God knows when.
Mm-hmm. That would be great because that is such an interesting course.
Yep, and it always, every single Monaco race, there ends up being talk about, is there a way to change the track or do something different on it? I don't really see how they can change it a whole lot if they're going to keep it to where everybody on their yacht can watch it.
That's right? Kind of, yes, that's the epitome of Monaco.
We didn't have predictions for Monaco, so let's just go through the full race results just so everybody's got it. So obviously, Lando, Charles, Oscar, your top three. Max was fourth. Any other Monaco Grand Prix, he won that race with a one-stop strategy. It was done and dusted. And even stopping on the last lap, he still was within a pit stop behind everybody. He's 20 seconds behind him. Lewis finished, a whole other pit stop and a half behind them, almost a lap back. And then 6th place and down was lapped. That tells you how much they backed the pack up. And then 9th place and down was lapped twice.
Yep.
So it was massively under impressive in terms of action, but overall the glitz and the glam, gets it. So yeah, Lando, Charles, Oscar, Max, Lewis, Isaac Hadjar. The rise of Hadjar continues.
Yes.
Esteban Ocon with a nice comeback after a DNF in Imola. Liam Lawson getting into the top 8. Alex and Carlos, another double top 10 for Williams. Thank you very much.
So great.
2 races in a row.
You don't get any points for this one.
George in 11th. Speaking of George, thoughts about him just cutting the chicane and taking the penalty?
Yes.
It was hotly debated by Jolyon Palmer and why can't I think of his name all of a sudden?
Yeah, I know. I know their names.
David Coulthard.
There it is.
Yep, DC. So it was hotly debated. In some cases, George is like, well, he was slowing down too much, and to some extent, I can see that. If someone's is braking earlier or differently than you expect, because you think if you're in a race car, your job is to go as fast as possible every single lap to finish as high on the grid as you can. And Monaco takes that away so often when people start backing up the pack. The problem is even if you are consistent in how you back the pack up, it still doesn't take away the fact that the person behind you is a race car driver that's trying to get around you.
Yeah.
There is a certain understood predictability between those guys. There has to be, because they're literally driving hundreds of miles an hour, within inches and centimeters to spare. So I get his argument to a point, But at the same time, I wasn't a huge fan of just seeing just blatant disregard for it. Nope, screw it. I'm just going around him.
Is it that, or is he gaming the system? This is
Both.
right, exactly. I think it's a strategy, and I think
And it didn't work out.
no, it didn't, not in this case. But I think it could work in a certain aspect, right? So,
I
race
don't
like
think he had
this,
his full argument together, but I see where he was going
no,
with it.
yeah. I don't know. I think it's a strategy. If you are, you're better off to take the penalty, for sure.
Moving down the rest of the line, Ollie in 12th, Franco Colapinto 13th, Gabriel Bortoletto 14th, Lance Stroll 15th, Nico Hulkenberg 16th, Yuki Tsunoda, bad day at the office 17th, Kimi in 18th, 3 laps down, and then Fernando and Pierre DNFs. So really a rough start to the European stints for the
Is it
Mercs.
just me, or has Fernando had more DNFs than completions?
He's had a rough year.
I will have to look at those stats. He's probably very much looking forward to next year.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yeah.
That being said, on to the Spanish Grand Prix. What's up, trade crew? You've heard the buzz, you've seen the press gang at every single AHR. Contractors across the country are ditching their torches for RLS press fittings, and they're not looking back. Why? Because RLS lets you finish faster, safer, and cleaner. From rooftops to mechanical rooms, crawl spaces, and attics, it's a press and go solution that's leak tested, UL recognized, and proudly made in America. Make the switch to RLS and take the heat out of your installs, literally. RLS, rapid locking system, press forward and press on. The Aramco Gran Premio de España 2025.
Ooh, you do that so well.
I don't speak Spanish.
No.
Fake it till you make it, right? Oh, and
Spanish
hey, it looks
is
like
like-
practice 2 just started. 0 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. Join live session now. Don't have time.
Mm-mm.
So, headed to Circuit de Barcelona de Catalunya. Or Catalunya. Lunya. There we go. Catalunya. First Grand Prix 1991. 66 laps. Max current lap record holder of 1:16.33. This is the second or third year now without the bus stop chicane. I know Rachel and I spent probably longer than we meant to debating when that happened earlier. But yeah, for years, the old bus stop chicane right there was changed the end of it, but with them trying to make it more, I guess, possible to really get around people and stop using the chicane to break the toe, having that full speed around the corner into the DRS zone. We'll see. We'll see how it works out this year for increasing overtaking opportunities. The tires for this year's rendition are the C1, C2, and C3, so hardest compounds in the Pirelli range. And based on last year's information, the average stint per tire compound in 2024 was 27 laps for the hard tire, 23 laps for the medium, and 17 for the soft. So the two-stop strategy is definitely on. I really don't know, unless you truly are bringing out the tire whisperer from some of these guys. I think it will be very difficult to one-stop this one, especially if it's hot. I haven't watched practice to know what the temperature is supposed to be like this weekend, but if it's super hot, then you're really going to see a lot of abrasion on these things too, so they're going to break down even faster.
Yeah, you'll always see. So there's strategy is always out to lunch. So sometimes with some of these guys, and I think you will see somebody try and go long.
I think so. Mm-hmm. And my guess is it's probably going to be Charles or Lewis, because exactly. That seems to be the one thing that Ferrari has done this year is like, well, we'll just go long. We'll just
I
do that,
swear,
and we'll
I
see what
swear they
happens.
have a magic 8 ball behind somewhere there, just saying, "Should we do this?" And it's shaking the
Should we go
8
long?
ball.
No. All
Yeah,
right, we're going long. Wait, what?
because Ferrari. I don't know why. I don't get it. Ferrari's strategy is just nuts sometimes. Like, you didn't foresee that. You didn't see that coming. No. Okay.
Well, and I can't remember any of the preseason um, Spanish results. So, which at this point they really don't matter. But I can't remember who was on top in Spain before we were in the Middle East for preseason testing. So it's going to be an interesting race. Um, I think it's going to be curious. If I remember correctly, when this 3-race stint started, I had read an article that Red Bull was bringing upgrades throughout this entire European first stint.
Mm-hmm.
So really, Monaco, if there were upgrades on the Red Bull at Monaco, you really can't tell in Monaco
No.
for anybody's, truly. Outside of one lap in qualifying, maybe you see it some. So I'm curious to see if there is another round of upgrades. Does that bring that Red Bull a little bit more, even more so, into contention with McLaren? Because McLaren is still heads and shoulders above everybody as far as we can tell.
Yep.
This race might show us a little bit more. We'll see.
Yeah, and we've talked about George being very consistent, but like
Yep.
Lando and Oscar have been incredibly consistent and like in the top 3 almost every time.
Well, but like we said, the last 2 races, George has really struggled.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's going to really come down to he's got to have a good qualifying session and get himself in a position to be able to achieve something. I think this truly is potentially another top 10 for Williams opportunity, because as usual, it's a fast car.
Yep.
So I think we've got a good chance to see them both back in the top 10 as well. And I would love to see old Nando get himself back up top after such a rough start.
Well, that was going to be my bold prediction, was Lando number 1.
Oh, no, I said Nando, no L.
Oh,
Fernando.
Oh,
Fernando.
So, I thought you said
yeah.
Oh, I would like to see that.
I didn't steal it from you.
Okay, good. You stole my prediction.
So, yeah. And then I guess it comes down really to tire strategies. So
Yes.
we know we're going to see, most likely everyone is going to use potentially all 3 compounds, which is always interesting. I love seeing everyone have to use every single tire. Some days I wish that was the demand, that you have to use all 3 of them in one way or another, because that would make it interesting. You'd also see them not save them. They just burn through them and see what happens. So, key strategy calls to get it right with a 2-stop. So what are we thinking? Most cases, I don't think anyone's going to start on the hard tire unless they're further down and they're going to go long and see what happens. So I think the majority of the grid's either going to start soft or medium. Hard tire, most likely, I would guess, is the middle stint for everybody, and then we're going back to soft or medium. Yeah. So we'll see. Who do you think is under the most pressure to really show up for this race?
Honestly, I still think the pressure is on Yuki to perform in that car. So, I think the car can do it. We know that. Now it's just up to the driver. So I think there's still going to be a lot of pressure with Yuki, even though he does have that seat until the end of the season. But I think also you're going to see, because Carlos is getting more comfortable in the Williams, I think you're going to see them make a real surge for the top, right? So I think
so too.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of pressure with Carlos, and Alex Albon is obviously getting, he's seasoned with that Williams, and he's doing so well this year. It's incredible.
Well, and real quick, we didn't run through driver or team standings, so I'll do that real quick, and then we'll start figuring out predictions as well as who needs to stand out. So post Monaco, Oscar is still on top, 161 points. Lando has closed the gap to 158. So I really think Lando's got to show up for this one because it'll flip him back on top, which I think is going to be very important for him.
Yes.
If he really wants to be the one that stamps himself as the title contender from McLaren, because they're both neck and neck. And then Max is third at 136. Now, if Max wins, that pulls him a little closer. We'll see.
Yep.
But I think Max he's got to continue to stay in that top three because there's going to be times down the season. I keep saying it. We've not seen it, but let's say Max's move in Imola didn't work out and he took himself and Oscar out. Well, then I feel like we're going to see something like that from somebody somewhere before this is over.
I think we're going to see it between Lando and Oscar.
Well, and the way it's going, it's building to where it could be that.
Yes.
And if they take each other out, then Max is like, thank you very much.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And then George is in fourth, despite having two rough weeks. He's at 99 points. Charles has pulled himself a little closer. He's in fifth at 79. Lewis in sixth at 63. So the Ferraris have had two kind of good weeks, which has helped a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Kimi Antonelli, despite his frustrations, is still seventh at 48. Alex Albon has a chance, I believe, to pass somebody if he does better this week because he's at 42 points.
Mm-hmm.
So he's right there fighting for in the top 8. And then Esteban is at 20 points. ACHR is at 15 points. Lance Stroll at 14. Carlos Sainz at 12. Yuki at 10. Pierre at 7. Nico at 6. Ollie at 6. Liam at 4. And then Fernando, Jack, Franco, and Gabrielle, the rest of the ones
0.
that are qualified for the year, is 0. So I'd love to see Fernando get his first points this week, if possible. It'd be awesome. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it'd be awesome.
Do we have
I'll throw it in there. Why not? I'll throw it in there. Why not?
We've played it safe with some of these bold predictions, so I think they just need to get a little tougher. So
yeah. So I guess I know I already outlined one of mine earlier before we started. Yes. I said my first prediction for Spain was that the best tire strategy was a medium, hard, soft.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that order.
I think so. I think that's the best tire strategy because, if you start on the soft tires, you're not going to get a whole lot out of them.
Yeah.
But, at the same time, there's an argument against it, but I'm going to go medium, hard, soft's the best strategy.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with the hard in the middle there, for sure.
And then what else did I say? I also said Fernando gets some points, and Williams with another double top 10.
Yes, yeah,
so,
I think so.
So now that I've shot my shot and given you all of them at once.
All of them. Jeez, no pressure.
Now it's your turn.
Okay, well, let's see. Hopefully, so I would like to see, let me look at this.
Which I think you already said Lando is going to win. So I think
I said, yes, Lando, I think Monaco gave him enough, hopefully, because it's not the car.
Winning that race is a huge confident boost for anybody.
And the fact that he's so close. He's 3 points out from the top. So I think we will see Lando take the lead.
All right. So Lando wins and goes top of the points.
Yes. I'm really hoping that these last 2 races haven't hurt Kimi too much because I really want to see Kimi in the points again this week. He's a great driver. I think this circuit is going to be great for that car. Now, just
he's
hoping
fast
he didn't
too.
Get
he's
too far
fast.
Yeah,
they're all fast. That's a bad statement, but
No, it is. It's a good. He's in a very good car, and he's proven that he is a very good driver.
All right.
So
Kimi in the
I
points.
would like to see Kimi. Yeah, Kimi's definitely in the points. I'm gonna say because Ferrari is what they are. I think we're gonna see them botch their strategy.
Oh, Ferrari botch their strategy.
I look forward to recapping this next week and see.
Yes,
talking about how badly they did with their strategy. I really do. You guys need to get a new Magic 8 Ball because the one you have is broken.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. I hope you're ready for the Spanish Grand Prix. Thank you so much for coming back. Sorry we missed you for a week, but we will continue to work tirelessly to make sure that you are filled with great, ambitious HVAC Zoomies content as often as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for listening to this latest episode of the HVAC Zoomies. Special thank you to Rachel, as always, for hosting with me and helping to grow the Zoomie Nation. Everyone, please make sure to follow us online. Find us on Instagram at HVAC Zoomies, Facebook and LinkedIn as the HVAC Zoomies podcast. Please also follow myself at HVAC_Rhino and Rachel at HVAC Rach. If you're not following our parent show, HVAC R&D Online, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at HVAC.R&D, as well as on LinkedIn, Trade Hounds, and Facebook as the HVAC R&D podcast. Thank you for listening to the show on your favorite platform, whatever it may be. Please smash the like or subscribe button to follow the show. Please like and rate the show. Leave us a review or a comment. And please share the show with your trade crew and your Zoomie Nation. Go check out HVACRD.com and visit the vendor hub and swag shop. You can find more information about our sponsors, AC Products USA, Apprentice Now, JPL Flexible Duct, and RLS Rapid Locking System, as well as have some great discounts from BetterHelp, Chirp, Service Titan, and SkillCat. If you'd like to work with us or join the show, make sure to click the link to the podcast questionnaire in the episode description or on social media. Have a great week, Zoomie Nation and Trade Crew. Zoomies out.